Hello, this is Watch It All About with another watch review, and in this review we're looking at the Steinhart Ocean One Titanium 500. I'm sure you're quite aware of it already, but it's a modern take and a more technologically advanced version of the original Steinhart Ocean One, which is pretty much a hardcore homage to the Rolex Submariner. So there's a number of key features that are different from the original Ocean One. It primarily takes the case and the bracelet style from the original one, but the dial is completely redesigned. The bezel insert is different as well, and the case back is different, and of course it's made out of titanium. So really, then the only similarities are the name, the Ocean One family, and the design of the bracelet and the main case section. So, what do you get for the amount of money that Steinhart are asking for? Well, it costs currently €590, and that's about £455 currently. Um, Obviously, you do get a number of pretty impressive specs along with a price like that. So let's go through them now. First of all, the size. It's exactly the same size as the original Ocean One. So it's 42 mm in diameter. It has a height of 13 millimeters and lug to lug length of 50 mm. So I've got a 7.25 inch wrist, and for me it fits pretty well. It is reasonably on the larger side of things, 42 mm for me. But I like the size of watches around the 42 mm range, so I think it works quite well. Any smaller, and I think you might struggle because of the shape of the lugs. They're very flat, so if you do have a smaller wrist, you might find it perches on top of your wrist quite a lot, and it might look a bit strange. So despite the size and despite the fact that it's all titanium, it's really lightweight. It's 140 grams, which is pretty incredible. When you think of the steel version, I think that's around 190 grams, almost 200 grams. So you're saving about 50 grams because it's made of titanium. So that's quite an impressive spec. It has a ceramic bezel insert, so that's always nice to see. Higher quality. The little markings are all drilled out, and it's nice and reflective. So that's quite it looks pretty expensive. The loom all across the dial and in the uh, bezel insert is a Superluminova BGW9. And it's a very good quality loom when you compare it to the original Ocean One. It's definitely an upgrade. It's very strong, it lasts for a long time, and it charges pretty quickly as well. Obviously, because it's called the Titanium 500, the water resistance is 500 meters. So again, that's quite an impressive spec for the price. For under £500 to get a diver's watch which is rated to that depth, that is quite unusual. So that's another good point for Steinhart. We have 22 mm wide lugs, reducing down to 20 mm at the buckle. So that's pretty standard for the size of the watch. And the titanium is called satin titanium. So it's a bit of a mix of brushed and blasted. A bit of a mix of those two, the finish. So I personally quite like it. But I'll show it you in closer detail in a little while. So finally, the final spec to mention is the movement. So it's the Soprod A10-2, which is basically another alternative to the ETA 2824, just like the Solita is. So again, good specs, Swiss-made movement, which is automatic with everything you'd expect, hacking seconds, hand wind capabilities, over 40 hours power reserve. But it's also nice to see that Steinhart have included a customized decorated rotor, which I really like. I like the way it's got the crown with this, which is part of the Steinhart logo. So you can see there, it's got that little top bit of the crown on the logo. And it's just really nicely decorated, so they put a lot of effort into it. into putting that rotor in. So all of this for under £500, it is pretty good, to be honest. So let's have a look at it in a lot closer detail to see the quality of the watch. So first of all, let's start with the dial. As I mentioned before, completely different to the original Ocean One. We've completely shed all ties to the Rolex Submariner, mainly because of the Mercedes hands. So instead, we've got some very chunky, fat, plain hands with loomed centres. Our markers are almost the same actually, but rather they're blobbed, just painted on loom. But I like the difference in colour. So we've got little splashes of blue here, which make it look a bit more modern, a bit more stylish in that sense as well, and a bit more specific for divers. I feel this it's got that certain hue to it. So I do like the different design we've taken. So the second hand is cool. I like the date window at 6 as well. I guess to keep the dial simple, it's just a straight beveling out of the dial rather than having a border, which might have kept made things a little bit more detailed when they want to keep it quite straightforward and simple. And I really like the minute track on the Rehout as well. So on the original Steinhart, it was just plain steel. So it's really cool to see a deep Rehout with a nice angle with the printing on it. So I mean, everything as you'd expect from Steinhart. The whole dial is flawlessly made. The loom is great as well. The hands and the printing are all very fine. So there we go. So very impressive. Sitting on top of the dial is a double domed sapphire crystal. So let me see if I can demonstrate to you the dome. So if I put my finger behind it, you can see there it's very slightly domed. But usually if it was a single dome, if you're looking at the watch at this angle, it would be all completely misshapen, and you wouldn't be able to read it. But because it's got a dome on the underside as well, it sort of counteracts the top dome, so that keeps the visibility there at such a steep angle. So you've always got great visibility no matter what angle you're looking at it on, which is a very good thing to see. And it keeps the visibility great at all angles, so that's nice. We have a decent layer of anti-reflective coating as well. I'm in a conservatory at the moment, so we're never going to get rid of all the reflections, but when you're using the watch on day to day, you can tell that it's got a decent anti-reflective coating, and you get a nice little flash of blue every so often. I think you can see it sort of around there, see a flash of blue. So that's I always think that a decent anti-reflective coating gives the sense gives the watch a real sense of quality, and makes them look quite expensive if they've got a nice AR layer. So that's the same with this Steinhart. So moving on to the bezel. So it provides a nice decent noise when you are rotating it. It's a little bit on the stiff side, but I guess that's safe in a way, so you're not likely to knock it or anything like that. The grip is pretty sharp, to be fair, pretty sharp to the fingers. But if you're not likely to be using it too often, so it's hardly gonna wear away your fingers. So I wouldn't worry about that. As I mentioned before, we have the ceramic bezel insert, so that's nice and reflective. Again, matches the whole appearance from the sapphire crystal as well. So it's got a nice little dome to the entire top of the watch, and just the whole reflective package of the watch as well gives it quite an expensive feel to it. We'll look at it in closer detail, but all of these markings are all very nicely engraved out and filled in with the BGW9 loom as well. So that's nice to see. So moving on to the case. Obviously the case is exactly the same, so very flat lugs, as we've come to appreciate with the Steinhart Ocean One. It's their specific shape, but the titanium means that it's extra light. All the finishing and the machining is all I found to be spot on, really. Maybe this bottom edge is a little bit sharp to the touch, but it's nothing that causes any concern. I really do like the crown as well, with the Steinhart logo very deeply embossed on it, and the grip is excellent as well. So I just undo it here, and I can just pull it out and set the time, and also I can wind it from here as well, and then just screw it back in. So the crown is very well machined, very precise and very accurate, and it's a great design as well. I really like the Steinhart end. I mean, it's quite, if you look at it, it is on the larger side, but I think it matches the general style of the watch pretty well. So the case back, as we mentioned before, it contains an exhibition window which shows off the Soprod A10-2 very well indeed. Surrounding the exhibition window, we have various specifics about the watch, so the name, what it's made of, various other little bits and bobs. If I can get it in focus. Swiss made by Steinhart, titanium, sapphire crystal, the movement and the rating 50 ATM, Ocean One titanium 500. So all this engraving is very nice and deep as well, very well machined. And then if we get a bit of a closer look at the movement, is that any good? Just about. So we can see that the finishing of the movement is really nice as well. It's got some nice Côte de Genève finishing to this bridging here. If I just flick it over as well, should be able to see some more on the other side. So it is really impressive movement when you're looking at it. It looks really good. I'd say even more impressive than the ETA equivalent as well. So that's always nice to see. And if you can, I'm not sure if you can see, but we have some very slight markings on this bridge at the top end, just saying that it's Swiss made and it has 25 jewels in. But we can have a look at that in closer detail in a few moments. So this is the bracelet. Again, satin titanium, very easy to resize thanks to the screw-in pins that just glide in and out. I didn't have any problems whatsoever resizing the bracelet. It was very easy. It does tend to get a few tiny little marks, as you can see. I mean, I've been wearing this watch, a good number of times every week for a number of weeks, and already we're starting to see a few tiny little marks here and there, mainly around where the buckle sort of hits the links, if you can see there what I mean. But it's to the normal day-to-day life, you don't really notice them, and to be honest, you get that on any steel bracelet anyway, don't you? The buckle is exactly the same as the original Ocean One, so we have the nice Steinhart logo deeply engraved on the top locking flap. Then we open it up, and we have this double joint, this single elbow here. Again, it's all very nicely made as you'd expect. Okay, so let's have a look at it under the macro lens, and we'll be able to take a peek in a little bit of closer detail. So starting off with the dial, if I just give it a quick wipe. Okay. So you can see there the printing is very fine. And here's the date window as well. You can see what I mean with the surround to it. It's got like a beveled edge rather than a border, and of course Swiss made, printed in blue, which is a lovely little colour. I do like the choice of colour they've made here. Then we have these very simple printed loom hour markers, like so. Moving on to the hands. Give me 1 second. Try and adjust the brightness there. You can see the loomed centres, quite subtly done actually. You can't tell at the glance of an eye that they've got loomed centres, unless of course it's in the dark. And a nice jet black base to them which matches the dial, so it almost looks as if they're floating. But very nicely made there. So yeah, very simple design to the dial, but very well executed. So moving on to the ceramic bezel insert. Here we can see the notches up to 15. I mean, look how amazingly machined they are. Absolutely flawless. They're all spot on, and then the fill is really impressive. So I do love a decent bezel like this, where the engraving is absolutely spot on, and they've done a really great job on this. As you can see, if I go through everything, no major issues at all, really. And then we have the surrounding grip with some decent toothing to it. So moving on to the crown, here we go. So here's the nice Steinhart logo embossed on the end. Decent grip to it as well. So if I just give it a quick unscrew, you'll be able to see the thread in there. So there it is. You see a little bit of oil in there as well to keep it nice and lubricated. Just give it a quick screw back up. There we have it. Just having a look at the side of the case then. So this is that satin kind of feel to it. So it's, as you can see, it's not fully brushed, but it's not fully blasted either. So it's a bit of a mixture of the two. I think on the case itself, it seems to be slightly more brushed than it is blasted. But then when you look at the links on the bracelet, they look slightly more blasted than they are brushed. So there is a slight difference between the two, but nothing substantial. But I do think it's a really cool finish to it. It's not something that you'd see very often, and it's a little bit different to the standard titanium watches out there. So moving on to the case back, so we have these specifics deeply engraved around the edge. Very nicely done. And then if I just give the exhibition window a little bit of a rub down, be able to have a look at the movement, hopefully. There we go. So there's the rotor with the impressive Steinhart engraving and the crown cut out of it. And there's the nice pearlage to the top of it. So I mean, it is if I just rotate, it is a very impressive looking movement. There it is, Swiss 25 jewels, very finely done. So it looks great to the eye, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to do a great job for many years to come. Okay, so we've already had a brief look at the links. So here we have it again, and then if we look at the sides, similar finishing, and that's one of the screw-in links. And then finally, just have a quick look at the top of this buckle. So there's the Steinhart logo, very nicely engraved on there, and that's just the finishing to the top of the buckle. And just opening it up, see the inside there. Okay. So, £455. It is a fair amount of money, to be honest, but I do honestly think that this is a great watch for that price. You are getting a very, technologically advanced timepiece, 500 meters of water resistance, completely made out of titanium. The Soprod movement with their own specially decorated rotor. The decent loom, the Super Luminova BGW9 loom, which is really strong and looks great. The ceramic inserts to the bezel as well. I think it's a really good timepiece. I mean, the Christopher Ward Titanium 600 is, you know, reasonably similar in stats, and that costs, you know, at least 150 pounds more. So the fact that Steinhart do it such a good at this price is really great for them. I always find that they offer fantastic value for money, and the Ocean One Titanium 500 really is no different. So if you're looking for a serious diving watch that you can get to serious depths to, and that looks really professional, looks the part, whilst keeping it affordable, then at £455, you know, the Steinhart Ocean One Titanium 500 is a serious watch for the money. So yeah, I think it's excellent. Everything's well made and well put together. The only thing to mention is that, you know, the titanium can get few little marks here and there, and the difference in the not that it should bother you, but there is a slight difference in the finishing of the case and the bracelet. You can see ever so slightly different shading there, but you know, to glance at, it doesn't really make, you know, you don't notice it at all. But apart from that, everything else is brilliant, and I also think it's a great looking watch, so obviously that helps a lot. I think the design is really cool. I would love to see this style in the stainless, in a stainless steel version, and you know, if they can knock £100 off, then that would be, maybe not quite that much, but that would be pretty excellent if they can have this dial style in a stainless steel case and bracelet. I think that would be a great seller as well. So as usual, Steinhart have done a really good job, and yeah, so I would recommend it if you're looking at buying one. So this was the Steinhart Ocean One Titanium 500, and that's what it's all about.